Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look at what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, we're talking all about Venus entering Libra and Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius. But in case you missed it, last week we talked all about Mercury in Scorpio and the full moon in Aries, which technically happens on the day this episode comes out. So if you want to know more about that, then definitely check out last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will tell you everything that you need to know about the new moon in Libra and Neptune retrograding back into Pisces.
And with that being said, let's dive into the episode. So the first thing we'll be talking about today that you're going to want to pay attention to is Venus entering Libra. This will be on October 13th at 5:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. What you need to know is that Venus in Libra is a very harmonious time because of the fact that Venus is in its home sign of Libra. So this transit will emphasize relationships, finding balance, and seeking fairness. So this is a really good time for building new connections, making peace wherever there needs to be peace, and focusing on creating more harmony in your life.
How you will feel during this time, you're going to notice you want to spend more time with others, and that you're able to fully listen to what others are saying and consider their perspective. This is a good time to collaborate. However, at times you might notice that you prefer to keep the peace and that it's really important to maintain harmony.
So where this will show up in your life. This could show up in your friendships, partnerships, or even in your work life, wherever collaboration is more important. You might also notice that you feel more inclined to advocate for fairness and balance, or might be more in tune or aware of any imbalances in your life. You might also notice that you're more interested in like fashion, design, or just anything that you find to be aesthetically pleasing.
What will become important to you? During this time, you're going to be focused on fairness and creating balance in your relationships, friendships, or even at work. You might start to pay more attention to if there's an equal back and forth and if your energy is being reciprocated. You also might notice that you want to spend more time doing things that bring a sense of harmony or peace, whether that's through art, your personal style, or the way that you express yourself.
If you're wondering how long this lasts, Venus will be in Libra until November 6th at 5:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when it will enter Scorpio.
And per usual, certain signs will be affected more than others. The signs that are most affected by Venus in Libra are Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. By placements, we mean Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements only.
And since this is a Venus transit, certain rising signs are more likely to find love. So those will be Aries risings, since Venus will be in the 7th house of relationships, and also Gemini rising, since Venus will be in the 5th house of romance, and that is rising sign only. And there are a few key dates you're going to want to pay attention to. These are the aspects that Venus will make while it moves through Libra. Starting off on October 13th, the day Venus enters Libra, it will also be opposite Neptune, which can bring some confusion or uncertainty when it comes to your relationships or also your finances. So it's going to be important that you are just very mindful of seeing things more clearly rather than through a sense of false optimism.
And then on October 14th, Venus will be trine both Uranus and Pluto. This is a good day for breakthroughs and creating meaningful change, especially when it comes to your relationships or any type of creative project that you were working on.
And lastly, on November 2nd, Venus will square Jupiter, which, while Jupiter and Venus are both very positive energies, squares with Jupiter can lead to overdoing things or taking on more than you can handle. So it's going to be a good idea to just check in with yourself and your boundaries and make sure that you're not overextending yourself on this day. The next thing that is happening that you're going to want to pay attention to on the same day that Venus enters Libra will be Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius. Again, that's October 13th, but this will be at 10:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what you need to know is that Pluto stationing direct will shift the energy from this more internal reflective process to one that's more of external changes and wanting to make those changes. So this is a time when themes around just transformation in society, technology, and community can start to move forward again.
How you will feel once the retrograde ends, you might start to notice a sense of relief or even clarity, like the things that you were focusing on during the retrograde period are starting to come together. This is a good time to notice any of the growth or changes that happened during the retrograde period.
So where this will show up in your life, you could notice changes or developments in any group settings or work environments, or even just in the larger societal conversation, since this is an outer planet transit that'll affect society more than the individual. So this could look like wanting to contribute more meaningfully to any groups that you're a part of, or just seeing shifts in the way that technology and innovation and even social media is playing a role in your daily life.
What will become important to you? You're going to shift your focus onto the bigger picture. You might notice that you're thinking more about long-term goals or the impact that you have in any group or community that you are a part of, especially when it comes to change that is long-lasting.
And per usual, certain signs will be affected more than others. The signs most affected by Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius are Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. Personal placements only, so Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and or Mars placements. And that is it for this week's episode. Just a reminder, next week we'll be talking all about the new moon in Libra and Neptune retrograding back into Pisces. So if you want to know more about that, then make sure wherever you're listening to the podcast, you're subscribed with the notifications turned on so you don't miss when we post next week. But until then, that is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.